I want to be the first black Batman.
Fuck yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
So I watched the Batman with Robert Pattinson. I thought it was, it had a lot of great things about it. But when the credits hit, I was like, I wonder if there's a black Batman in the DC universe. I looked him up. His name is Tim Fox.
Wow.
Yeah, the family was very close to the Wayne family. There was a scientist that worked for Wayne Enterprises. The head scientist, his son was Tim Fox, who ended up, I think he was like a military professional, just this tall, dangerous, superhuman person. And he shows up when Gotham makes it illegal for people to wear masks. And he ends up revolting against that, and he puts on a full cowl. Like it's just from head to toe. You can't see his face. And
Right.
he dons Batman, the moniker of Batman, when Bruce Wayne has to retire.
I mean, bats are mostly black. Think about it. Kind of makes sense.
The brother of the animal kingdom, the bat.
All right. Welcome to Inside the Audition, the podcast that helps actors master the art and science of audition so that you can stand out for all the right reasons and book your next lead role. I'm your host, Joey Freddy Larson. Make sure to connect with me on Instagram at Joey Freddy Larson. You can slip into my DMs. You can ask questions. You can suggest a topic for an upcoming episode, or you can apply to be one of our next guests. Remember that in every episode, we dive deep here into audition experience, advice, strategies, industry insights, inspiring stories from top actors, directors, producers, casting directors, and film and theater industry pros. So whether you're an emerging actor or maybe you're a longtime industry vet, Inside the Audition is your backstage pass to audition success. And Inside the Audition is sponsored by the Monologue of the Month Club, which is your ultimate resource for professional and emerging actors who want to attract agents, casting directors, and producers, and ultimately book your next lead role. You can join weekly monologue jams, monthly workshops. You get professional coaching, personalized feedback, and collaborate with an international community of growth-minded actors. The Monologue of the Month Club is your golden ticket to your next lead role. You will learn how to join the Monologue of the Month Club and take your next step to attract agents, casting, and producers. On your way to book your next lead role, head over to actorsauditionclub.com/join. That's actorsauditionclub.com. Let me say that again. actorsauditionclub.com/join to get started today. Now, today's guest, he's been a performer since 2003. He's been loving his journey as a professional actor since 2018. He's into comedy, he's into screenwriting, he's a big fan and student of film and television. He's also been a regular coaching client here with us for several years at Actors Audition Club. So please welcome the Tim Daniels to Inside the Audition. Tim, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for that intro. That
Yeah,
felt
buddy.
awesome, especially coming from you.
There you go. Welcome,
Yeah.
welcome, welcome to the pod. We're here today to cast pods. I want to jump right into it, and I would love for you to tell me about an audition experience that you've had in your career, something memorable, especially something that maybe you learned a lesson. Can be a good one that went well and you learned something, or one that the shit hit the fan and you learned something from that. But
Yeah.
tell us something
Um,
memorable and the lesson you learned.
Okay, so I have two that come to mind. I'll start with the positive one, the not so positive one. It's pretty fast and dirty. I was auditioning for a character who I absolutely fell in love with. This character, Daddy G, for a show called Emerge. It hasn't come out as yet. I think it's still in the post-production phase. It was one of the very few in-person auditions that I had where I had to go into a studio and sit in a waiting room with a bunch of people who were either dressed like me or looked like me. It was the thing a lot of us actors are get the nerves about. So I was sitting there, falling in love with this character. I walked into the room, and this particular character I wanted to model after. Strangely enough, he's a pimp, and so I modeled him after my mom, which is a weird thing to say. I know it's a weird thing to say, but he was a very loving character, and so I modeled his loving attributes to how my mom would love and care for me. And then the other character was Bishop Don Magic Wand, like the pimp of all pimps. And so I walked in there with that energy. It was so it was palpable how good it felt to be in that room to do that part, and I ended up landing it. It was a tremendous experience. I ended up running into people who friends and very close friends who were successful actors before I even got a role, and it was nice to be in the same room with them, being casted in the same production. The not so great experience I had was 2 days ago. It was a Zoom audition. I must have been maybe the 200th person that this person saw. And so the energy that I was receiving from the casting director, it was just, they were ready to go. They were ready to call it in. I can't blame them for that. It just threw me off because I'm a bit of a people pleaser. I'm still working on that, and I just wanted to make this person smile. They didn't have it in them, and I kind of just I went on autopilot, said the lines. It was almost like verbal vomit, and it kind of just ended with that. And now I can't stop thinking about the tone of this person's voice and how they were just in the mood that they were in. I can't blame them, but it's just now it haunts me.
Yeah, those are both great lessons. I love Mom Pimp. Uh, maybe that's a spin-off show that you need to write. I kind of like the idea of where the mom is the pimp. Yeah, and she's pimping out her son and all her son's hot friends.
I can see the title already. Maybe it's like Motherly Love, or maybe that's a little too close to the chin. I'm
Pimp
not sure.
Pimp my mom, maybe. Yeah, a little bit of gender bender. Like typically the pimp is always a male and his
Yeah,
his his clients are females, but yeah,
yeah,
something to chew on there for you.
something there.
Yeah, and the Zoom thing, it's like yeah, it's like you want your audition. It's the one and only audition for you, so you want everything to go perfect. But then the flip
Yeah,
side is that you, like you said, they've done 200 of them.
yeah,
That it's been maybe frustrating. They've dealt with tech issues, and it's like, okay, another just like let's get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Can't
Um,
be bad. It's a part of the game,
it's like speed dating where you in your head is just like, no, this one's not going to work out.
Yeah,
Next,
yeah,
next.
yeah,
Yeah, and that is a really good lesson because as actors, we need to be able to bring it regardless of what we're getting back
yeah.
from the other side, whether that's a casting director or a reader, or sometimes on set, maybe the
Hmm.
actor has not given you what you thought was going to be happening, and you still got to hold strong and keep it
Yeah.
together on your end. Yeah,
Hmm.
it brings up the quote. I've heard the quote, be a thermostat, not a thermometer. The
Mm.
difference being a thermometer can just measure the room. So if it's cold, you're cold back. If it's hot,
Right.
you're hot back. But a
Yeah.
thermostat actually reacts to the temperature and then compensates for it. So it's like, oh, I see I'm getting the cold shoulder. I'm going to bring a little bit more, which
Heat a
sometimes
little.
works, but sometimes can backfire if that's not what they're looking for. So yes, I'm sure listeners around here feel their pain, or back in the day of in-person auditions where it's a panel and you go in and you say hello and you start doing your thing and someone's in their phone, someone's in their salad. And you're just like, hello, I've been training my whole life for this. Like,
Yeah.
you're just,
Yeah.
oh, are you still in the room? Uh, I want to say something. I've known you for a handful of years. You've been a client here coming for auditions at Actors Audition Club. The one thing that I want to commend you for, you always have, maybe again, maybe it's the people pleaser in you, but you always have big, bright, happy, joyful energy. You're always
Mhm.
fun to be around. You
Thank
come in here very well prepared and very open and flexible and loose and really ready to play and ready to have
you.
fun, which
Yeah.
is great on our end because it's obviously your audition and it's your career, but we want to be here to help you. So it's great when we throw out an idea. Well, what about this? What about that? Or, well, you could possibly play this way, or what about
Yeah.
this? And to have someone who's always so open and so receptive and willing. And sometimes people are a little blocked off,
Okay.
or understandably so. They just have their idea. It's their audition. There's like, nope, I've thought about this. This is the way I want to do it.
Hmm.
and so maybe not as open to some extra direction, some extra ideas. But that
Yeah.
is not you. You always come in. You're always super fun, which just makes it, as coaches and directors, makes it way more fun because we know we throw an idea out. You don't need to take it as the final take, but you're at least gonna take it for a spin and
Yeah.
let's do one like that and see how it goes. So yeah.
Absolutely. It has been really life changing, and I mean that might sound a little dramatic, but coming
No,
to
we already got it. We already got
yeah,
it on tape.
but coming in and doing my self tape with you guys, with you and Brandon, and I worked with two other guys who are part of your team, and
Yeah.
it just it's fantastic, and I feel as if I come in open. Yes, I have my ideas. Yeah, I have an idea of what the character's going to sound like or feel like or what I'm going to do in that moment. But the amount of information that you all have that you're willing to bring to the table for us to elevate that the self tape, it's 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 worth every dollar that we spend. So yeah, of course I would come in open and take the advice from guys like yourself that have had far more skin in the game than I have. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer for me. Yeah, I totally get the people that want to they've been planning and they've rehearsed a certain kind of way and they want it to go a certain kind of way. That's your ship. But yeah, as for me, I love coming in and playing with you guys. And I take it that way. I come
Yeah.
in thinking that it's not so much just an audition, but it's an opportunity to play back and forth with a real person. The amount of times I've had to use an AI voice changer as my scene partner just to get an audition through. It's embarrassing the amount of time. But when I get those big auditions, those big juicy ones, the you two are the first people that I think about.
Beautiful. Well, I got news for you. I'm actually AI. An AI avatar. We've really nailed it. So I'm on a
Yeah.
beach sipping margaritas right now. And so I had to send my clone in my place. Um,
Love it.
yeah, I think what you mentioned there is I mean it's a collaborative process.
Yeah.
Again, it's your audition. We always respect that it's your audition, but we
Hmm.
also want to help. We're big believers in 1 + 1 = 3. And
Hmm.
the nature of any coaching, not just acting coaching, the nature of any coaching is coaches help, whether it's an actor or an athlete or a business coach, they help you see your blind spots that you maybe don't see, or we can help you feedback some of what we're getting from you and be like, oh, did you realize that this is how you said that, or that's how you said that? Is sometimes stuff to
Yeah.
judge ourselves or to critique or to direct ourselves. So
Hmm.
I think it just really comes down to being open to that coaching as well. Like why it's an interesting paradox sometimes people will pay, and this again, this is just isn't just acting coaching, but people often will pay a coach, again, whether it's business, whether it's sports or a trainer, and then not listen to them. So it's like, well, why aren't you like,
Yeah.
not that you have to take it as the gospel, and it's never a situation as this way is right and that's
Yeah.
wrong. It's
Yeah.
just let's explore this, let's explore
Hmm.
that. Try it on like it's a coat and be like, yeah, this coat, feels okay, but maybe it's not the right fit. Let's try another coat. And then you just
Hmm.
keep
Hmm.
going. So, and that's one of the great things about you is you're very coachable and you're very open to it, where it's just like, ooh, that sounds fun. Let's do
Yeah.
one like that. Rather
Yeah.
than rather than meh, and then you strike it down. And then what happens when you do that on your end,
Hmm.
on both ends, if as a director you give someone like what would be called a negative direction, like don't do that or
Yeah.
don't do this or that was too much, then the artist in you kind of starts to shrink and the boldness in you starts to shrink.
Mm.
You don't want to take a risk. And the same thing happens the reverse, where after a few suggestions or directions, if they are shot down, then we can, it's easy for us to be like, well, I'm just not going to throw it out there because he seems to
Yeah.
be kind of set in his ways, which is all fine and good.
Sure.
But also, why pay for the extra coaching session to shoot it all down? Which is
Yeah.
very rare.
Yeah.
That is the exception. People like
Hmm.
you come in and coachable is our normal experience, that people are
Amazing.
coming into play, and
Yeah.
really seeing those self tape sessions as still workshop and rehearsal, at least the first half of it, where we're
Yeah.
working out, we rehearse it. Ooh, what is it?
Yeah.
What's our moment before? What's the button? How are we going to frame it? Can we do anything cool with the blocking or physicality or find a cool viewpoint? So it's
Mhm.
all in the spirit of play.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things is if I'm here, if I'm not running the session and Brandon or one of other session directors are running the session in the back, is just hearing all the laughter and goofing around and be like, okay, they're having fun.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's a pretty good litmus test. Is
Mhm.
if you're having fun, you're probably going to get a good result versus if you come in and you're all stressed and anxious and this is hard and this is a
Yeah.
struggle and I haven't had enough time and I'm frazzled and I just need to get this perfectly. Like all that kind of energy is just like, oh, you're doing it wrong. That's not how
Yeah.
it should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you
Absolutely.
first get into all this? What was your first foray into the biz? Did you start as a kid? Is this a midlife adult thing? Like how did you do all this?
I hmm. Do you want like the first time I got bit by the bug or the moment I got into the industry and got skin in the game?
You know what? Let's rather than A or B, let's go C, both A, all of the above. Let's hear
All
both.
of the above. Okay, so I had a friend of mine in high school who was always about trying to do things with the boys. And so it was there was about five of us and he was the glue that kept us together. And one day after school, he was like, "Hey, we should audition for the musical Grease." And I said, I'd rather have you dunk my head into a toilet than to audition for this sissy ass show. I mean, this was the 90s. I was trying to be this big tough guy. I wasn't tough.
Right.
I cried in front of the principal, I think the week
Hey,
before.
there's nobody tougher than the T-Birds.
Exactly. I didn't
Unless
know that.
unless you
I
were
didn't even
unless you
see.
thought you were like, I am not gonna be a pink lady. This is
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I just didn't want to be snapping my fingers and wearing tight pants at the time.
right.
I don't know what I was thinking. So as soon as I said that, he said, "All right, cool." I thought he was leaving, but he put me in a full Nelson. And he was like, "Okay, so we're going to the bathroom, right?" And I'm like, "Okay, okay, okay. I'll audition. I'll audition." So I auditioned for it. I ended up getting Coach Calhoun. I had no idea who this guy was. And everybody who was a part of the production, I admitted this to. Like, I don't know who this guy is. I've never seen the movie. And it was like that musical moment where everyone's kind of heads tilted and are like, "You've never seen Grease?" And
Well, tell me more, tell me more.
exactly. Yeah. And they taught me the kind of personality traits that Coach Calhoun had in the moment. I tried it out and it was this like anonymous praise. They were like, "Yeah, you got it." And that was the moment that it bit me. It was the community that I felt in that moment. I just kept
Wow.
chasing that every day ever since then. And then after I got an agent, an aunt of mine knew somebody who had an agency for background actors. And that's kind of how it started. Fast forward, our friend Johnny Gautier we ended up working together for a few years and he started acting with Ritter Talent Agency. I just gave him a call. I wanted to hang out with him. I hadn't seen him in a while, and he put me in front of Terry, and the rest is history. I've been here for 4 years,
Yeah.
and it's been tremendous.
We just had Johnny Gautier on the podcast. People can check out episode 184, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, just a couple. I worked with Johnny on Tales from the Void.
Yes.
Previous to that, I'd seen him around at some film festivals, and I'm like, who is this giant man?
Yeah.
But yeah, love Johnny. Shout out to Johnny and Screaming Goat Films. We have a fun synchronicity. My first stage acting thing as a kid was also Grease.
Get out of here.
Yeah, grade eight.
Yeah.
Technically, my first like entertainment onstage things was the grade 6 talent show where I was in an air band with some of my buddies, and we air banded a bunch of rap songs.
Ooh.
Fun fact: I'm from a very small town, Aurelia, Ontario,
Hmm.
and the population wasn't too diverse, but I was lucky enough to be best friends with one of the only black kids in the school and in a town,
Yeah.
and he loved rap, introduced me to rap. I fucking loved rap from like the time I it was probably 10 years old. I was grade 6. So it was Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison,
Get out.
The ladies loved it. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Velvet Devoe, Poison, probably Run DMC. I feel like we did. It was like an air band lip sync, right? To so
Yeah.
we did. It's tricky. It's tricky to rock around. To rock around. That's right on time. Is tricky. And we're all up on stage in like my Lakers starter jackets and our Chicago Bulls hats, and probably at least a
What
couple
I
of us
would
had
pay.
like parachute pants on. Yeah, except for the lead guy. It was like we were the it was like the reverse of some typical air bands, or like you know how a lot of times it'll be a white singer or a white crooner and then the band and the backup is
Yeah.
black band and
Yes.
backup. It was the complete opposite. It was like
Love it.
the whitest guys behind our lead guy, and he knew how to dance. He knew, like, he actually had rhythm. And we're
Oh,
just a bunch of white guys playing fake keyboards and stuff. But yeah, I caught the bug. And then grade 8 was Greece. I played Kaniki
nice.
in Greece. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So we have a Greece connection there.
We
Yeah.
do.
Go
We
Grease
do.
Lightning. You're burning up the quarter mile. And then so okay, so you got in through Johnny was your connection. I did not
Yes.
realize that. What would you say is your process? Or so your agent sends you an email,
Yeah.
you got an audition.
Mhm.
From that point to the point that you shoot it, what's your protocol? What's your system? What's your process?
So my protocol is first try to get the lines down front to back, upside down in my sleep. And so the one thing that works for me best is I'll go through it, I'll write it down word for word, and then after I've done that, I will just write down the first letter of that word
Mm.
and try to have it memorized that way. That's one of the easiest ways for me. If it's really heavy and I find that it's a lot of back and forth, I'll record the other character so that I can play it while I'm walking. Another thing that I find helps it like get into my body a little bit better is I'll rehearse while doing chores. I find that sometimes I feel the most natural if I'm folding laundry or doing the dishes or whatever it is. That's my process. And then when I really start to find the character and I feel like I'm starting to hear the character's voice in my head and kind of feel their body language a little bit, I try to find a favorite song and then I'll play that song while I
Nice.
rehearse.
I like
Yeah.
that. I
hmm
like that. What was your favorite song for the pimp?
Oh, it was Summer Madness by Kool and the Gang.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just I had that playing at all times. Actually, I played that wearing the outfit on set. We were way out of town and but we shot in a hospital. The entire production was shot in an abandoned hospital. And down the street from the hospital was a church. So I had that song playing in my pocket while wearing the pimp's uniform, cane and everything. And a lady invited me to church that day.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's nice of her. Or was it kind of a backhanded compliment where it was like, you need to stop sinning and get
You
into
know
this
what?
church?
The sincerity in her eyes, it was just like she just wanted everyone to come to Jesus. She didn't care who you were. She was the sweetest lady. It was,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pimps go to church too, man. You know,
Yeah.
everybody needs a little bit of it. Yeah. Can you talk about any struggles that you've had throughout your career and how you've dealt with them? And that could be in the past, or that could be just something ongoing.
It's something that I still kind of fight with from time to time. It's the amount of commitment that I have to the work. Some there are unforeseen things that require your energy and responsibility. I know that in my 20s, back when I had the background acting agent, I was also working in bars and restaurants and my work life balance was so out of whack that I would spend more time hanging out with industry guys, drinking, going to 4 a.m.s and doing that kind of stuff. And I would either miss out or turn down opportunities to be on set. And and I found that it when I got rid of that part of my life, when I left the industry, I found that there were always little things that I would use as an excuse to to talk myself out of rehearsing more or advocating for myself, trying to bolster my portfolio, doing whatever I could with the resources that I had to make sure that my brand and my person, who I was the actor that I envisioned myself to be. So, I still work on that. I still have a little bit of doubts here and there. I sometimes I have to catch myself. I'm like, hey, your friends and family who need your help sometimes they call on you because they know that you're good for it and that you can be there for them, but how good are you going to be for them when you're not pursuing the thing that gives you the strength to be there, that allows you to be happy? Because I know that if I wasn't doing this, I'd probably do well in some other industry, but I definitely wouldn't be happy. So that's something that I wrestle with, and it's gotten better over the years, especially this year. This year I've definitely leaned in a lot harder, and I'm reaping the benefits, the amount of creative ideas, the things that I'm writing, the projects that I'm working towards. The Yeah, it's an uphill climb. That
Yeah,
monkey on my
yeah, that's
shoulder.
great. I mean, it's got its challenges and the idea of work-life balance and family and yeah, this is so last minute too. So
Yeah,
you don't know when you're going to get the audition, and it can be when you have a shift work, you have a shift at work plan, you got a family outing, you
yeah,
got weekend vacation, but you also have this audition that could be the role that changes your life. So
yeah,
how do you prioritize, or what do you prioritize in that
yeah.
case? So yeah, I think it's having some honest conversations with those people. You don't
Hmm.
want, I mean, at the end of your life, you're going to look back at the relationships and your family and loved ones. So you want them to be good too, but also let them know that, hey, this is why I'm doing this and this is why
Hmm.
it's important to me. And really what I've always found too is all you can really know, like, there's a lot of reasons that you can not get cast in a role. You could have a fantastic audition and still not get cast in it, and
Yeah,
it's ultimately it is other people making the decision. You're not deciding, which means all you want to do is know that you did your best in that moment and with the time that you had, with who you are as an actor and as a person now, that you did your best. And then you can walk away from it being like, cast me or don't cast me. That's as good as you got. Like, I gave you my best, and if you take it, great. And if you
yeah,
don't, I get it. Someone else was right for it.
yeah.
And if you didn't prep and you procrastinated and you kind of half-assed it, then you can never say that,
Hmm.
which is a trap that a lot of actors fall into, because it also keeps us safe, because then it's like, well, of course I didn't get it. And there's that
Hmm.
self-sabotagey thing of,
Hmm.
well, if I don't put all of my effort into it,
Yeah,
then I don't ever actually get the full feedback of, like, oh, because what's the worst thing? The worst thing is you do your best and you fail, and then the dream is dead, kind of thing,
yeah,
like, in a weird way. It's these weird
yeah.
mental games that we play with ourselves where,
Mm.
and even the word self-sabotage, there's a little bit of fallacy to it, because no one is I don't think most people, when they are doing the thing that is self-sabotage, they're not actually thinking, I'm gonna sabotage myself.
Exactly.
It's actually some kind of self-preservation, or there's
Hmm.
a secondary benefit, and the benefit might be, if I don't fully try, then I won't fully get rejected,
Yeah,
because I can always fall back on, well, I didn't have time, well, I had to do it last minute, or
yeah.
yeah, of course I wasn't right for the role, so I didn't fully prep.
Hmm.
But when you fully give yourself into it, then you can just walk away and feel
And
good
yeah,
about it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think as creatives, we really wrestle with the amygdala in our brains. It's the part of our brain that just wants us to have the status quo. It's always looking out for fear. It's the preservation system in our brains. And yeah, when we want to, I've experienced it even this week. Like when I want to do more, when I want to dive in deeper into the things that I'm passionate about, and the dreams that I want to see happen, my body wants to shut down. Like I was absolutely exhausted this week. I had two auditions. There was a lot of work. There are some personal projects that I'm trying to make happen, and everything in me just wanted to lay back, put on a TV show, play some video games, or just do the day-to-day stuff. And I was listening to a neuroscientist talk about how fear affects the body in
Mhm.
these really supernatural ways almost. And yeah, you have to be aware of that and know that it's not going to be as bad as you think it is. And the worst thing that you could actually do is 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 let things be the way that they are. If you're going to half sell the audition, if you're going to convince yourself that it's because of time or anything like that, of course, we all have lives that require us to be 100% in 20 different places, but we're just doing ourselves a disservice if we don't push through that, and we are far more capable than we'd like to believe we are. I'm starting to believe that. I'm starting to
Oh
see
yeah.
that in life.
I want to get back to the neuroscience side of it, not to get too super technical, but I think it's worth delving into a little bit more. We do have this weird, like, call it our lizard brain, monkey brain,
Yeah.
where when we were cave people, everything was a threat. Anything new was a threat, anything outside the norm. Ultimately, any change subconsciously, our body can be like, oh no, this is a threat.
Yes.
Even when that change is positive. So the change could be you book this role, you get all the accolades and notoriety. It launches you into this next thing. You get a bunch of money, you buy a better house, and your life
Hmm.
is completely upgraded. But that change, your subconscious sees that as scary and wants
Hmm.
to protect you from that. And then you
Yes.
do this weird mental ninja stuff on yourself where you're like, but if I don't really fully go for it, then I I won't have to worry about all the new problems, whether
Absolutely.
it's mo money, mo problems, or any of those kind of thoughts. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we our brains really do those weird things, and it's like sometimes careful what you wish for because
Yeah.
all your dreams come true, and then it's like, oh, this is overwhelming. I'm in a new scenario, and new level, new devil kind of thing could come
I've
in.
never heard that one. I like the sound of that. There's also a quote that I've heard and I've used on my friends a bunch of different times. It's any change, even good change, comes with drawbacks and discomforts. And you can take that any which way that you want, but
Right.
very much to like what you were saying, when you get to that new level and your body just wants you to say it's saying no. Let's get back to the status quo. But it's worth it.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that it's worth it to try.
Yeah, it's so weird. And the other thing that occasionally happens too is people start getting what they would call their dreams being fulfilled, where they're landing some roles, they're getting a little busier, and then something like their schedule starts to get busier. And
Hmm.
then you hear people like lament, I gotta fly here and I gotta fly there and I got a wardrobe and they want me for this and that. And then so all their energy is negative, which is kind of repelling energy when it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
you're getting exactly what you want right now, and your
yeah,
body and your words and your thoughts are
yeah,
telling the universe, fuck off, I don't want any of this right now. It's like, watch that. Yeah, like,
yeah,
and know that, like, again, the careful what you wish for. When if all of your dreams did come true, or like it's like the Midas touch, like you start, oh fuck, now everything I touch is gold. I don't want this much gold, like,
yeah, yeah.
and so yes, I see that especially with the schedule. Like
Hmm.
when you do get busier, and then you like a week of like, oh shit, I got 3 auditions, I'm on set, I'm on stage, I got a stand-up show.
Hmm.
Too much. And then all of a sudden, and that becomes the like you put the gas pedal and you get all that stuff and you start cooking, and then your subconscious or whatever it is like, no, 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 this is too much.
Yeah,
You're like right there, getting all your dreams like thrown in your lap, and you're like, it's too much. Like you're playing a game of hot potato with your dreams, and it's like, no, here's everything you want. It's
yeah.
ooh, but it's hot. Here, take that. You know? Yeah, it's really interesting.
Mm.
I think partly just the awareness of that helps to be aware to stop and be like, no, no, there's some great books. The Big Leap is a fantastic book, not just for actors, but for anyone. And
Yeah.
basically the thesis is anytime you're about to make a big leap in your life,
Hmm.
this stuff happens mentally and in our brains where we do everything we can to fuck it up because
Hmm.
the change of the big leap is scary to us. There's
Hmm.
another one. It might be the same author. The Gap and the Gain,
Okay.
and the thesis of that book is we spend most of our time looking at the gap between where we are and where we imagine we want to be versus looking at the gain of where we were and where we are now, which
Mm,
means we're constantly driving ourselves nuts because no matter how far we progress, and not only that, but we move the target further and further. So we're
yeah,
just always looking at where we're not and the things
yeah,
we don't have
yeah,
rather than there's a version of Tim Daniels right now that if you were to describe everything you've already done in the business and in your life, the younger kid would be like, "Wow, that's amazing. I
yeah,
did all that." But
yeah,
there's also a part of you right now where it's like, it's not enough. I need a bigger role. I need a bigger thing. When will I ever be happy?
yeah,
When will this happen? So
yeah.
yeah,
You can
it's
ask
the
yourself that question for the rest of your life if you're not careful.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like obviously you're not saying don't you still want to strive for bigger, better, faster, stronger, all that stuff, but also
absolutely.
on the journey recognize the wins along the way and see how far you've come and
Yeah.
realize that you're doing pretty good. Future aspirations for you on the subject of manifestation, what do you want to put out to the world? Do you have dream roles, dream projects, anything that you're working on your own?
Yeah, that's quite a few. So this is a very ambitious one, but I
Pimp my
wrote
mom?
a
Pimp my mom? Is that have you written that?
yeah, no, no. No, not yet. Yes, not
Okay.
yet.
All right.
My
So we're
mom
not
does. She really likes to pitch me movie ideas, and like it's the best thing in the world. But there is a feature that I wrote two years ago. It's pretty ambitious. It's a take on the zombie apocalypse, and I would love to see that happen sometime in the near future, maybe in the next 2 or 3 years. Right now, something a little it's a little similar to what you guys do with the monologue thing. I'm doing it just for myself for now. It's I'm starting a channel called Scenes in 60, and I will be once a week posting a an original 1 minute monologue where the challenge is I set a little challenge for myself where I'm trying to focus on posture or tonality, or I might give myself an accent to work with, or camera work or lighting. And so I'm trying to get a little bit more technical so that when I am approached with people who are far more technical than I am, I'll be able to speak the language. So that's kind of the nature of that project. And
that's
yeah.
so smart. Yeah, that's so brilliant. I think there's so many actors out there.
Hmm.
If you're an actor who's not getting all the things that you want and you want to be acting more,
Yeah.
but you're not doing something on your own, that's just
Yeah.
crazy to me. It's like you're like it's just you're putting the brake pedal on your own career versus
Absolutely.
doing something like that where it's like, okay, I don't need to wait for an audition to act. I can I can act anytime. And a lot of us at some point when we made it a profession,
Yeah.
then we stopped doing it for fun or we stopped doing it on our own. I'm not just gonna act. I gotta wait for an email from my agent and somebody to pay me, which
Yeah.
is not why you got into it in the first place. And then that's what
No.
holds you back because in between auditions you're not doing anything rather than work on it, but also I'm sure that's very fulfilling for you too to
Yes.
do it. It's like
Yes.
you get all the joy. Maybe you don't get the paycheck attached yet to it,
Hmm. Hmm.
but then you're also sharpening the saw, you're progressing, you're recording actual footage of yourself playing different characters, maybe something that your agent didn't see you as or something that
Yeah.
casting, maybe something that's
Mm.
off type or like you mentioned with a dialect or an accent.
Hmm.
That's like I think that's the master habit for actors unless like if you look at your bookings and your income from acting and realize that I'm not at the level that I want, well,
Hmm.
keep doing things like you're doing where you're just
Yeah.
shooting things, whether that's shooting TikToks or Instagram reels or proper short films and indie things. Like yeah,
Yeah.
that's brilliant. Anything else? There was something else too.
What was the so yeah, there was the zombie film and scenes in 60. Other than that, I guess my it would be no, no, I think those are the two. I really
Dream role and something
oh, a
that's
dream role.
existing already or
Okay.
a type of movie doesn't have to be like the actual character but
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I want to be the first Black Batman.
Fuck yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I love
I
that.
learned about, so I watched the Batman with Robert Pattinson. I thought it was, it had a lot of great things about it. But when the credits hit, I was like, I wonder if there's a black Batman in the DC universe. I looked him up. His name is Tim Fox.
Oh,
The family was very close to the Wayne family. There was a scientist that worked for Wayne Enterprises. The head scientist, his son was Tim Fox, who ended up, I think he was a military professional, just this tall, dangerous, superhuman person. And he shows up when Gotham makes it illegal for people to wear masks, and he ends up revolting against that, and he puts on a full cowl, like it's just from head to toe, you can't see his face, and
right.
he dons Batman, the moniker of Batman, when Bruce Wayne has to retire.
I mean, bats are mostly black. Think about it. Kind of makes sense.
The brother of the animal kingdom, the bat.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool, man. Yeah, I love that. That's great. Yeah, keep working on that. Or
Yeah,
write
but
write write your own fan fiction or write a little teaser trailer. Yeah.
yeah. And even to do that, I would love to do that as a voice actor. I
Right.
Voice acting is something I would also like to get into. I saw that. Have you Did you ever listen to, what was it called? So there is a Batman audio audio drama,
Yeah.
and the first person who voiced Batman was Winston Duke, and then the second one was Coleman Domingo.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
both really fantastic.
Yeah. Is that the series that Mark Hamill plays the Joker, or is that something different?
Oh, was it?
Because he famously has been voicing the Joker in one of the cartoon
Yes,
universes.
for
Yeah.
years. Yeah, yeah. No, I don't think it was. I don't think was the first one. Did the first one have the Joker? No, no, none of them had the Joker. But yeah, both really fantastic. It's like a nice little medium, and I see that a lot of actors that we've seen in television and movies, they have these little passion projects where they're doing
Right.
voice acting and creating audible universes that are phenomenal to listen to. So yeah,
Yeah.
my
Well,
hands.
we've sent it into the universe here for you. So yeah, we're pretty good at manifesting things here inside the audition. So
I believe it. I
we'll send
believe
that out to you. How can other actors or film industry pros connect with you? What's the best way to reach out to you?
Best way to reach out to me is so far on Instagram. My handle is Timothy David Daniels. It's very long, but it's easy to spell. You can find me there.
We'll link it up in the show notes too. Yeah.
Yep,
Tim.
absolutely. And yeah, I'd love to chat, collaborate, share ideas. I'm an open book, and that's one of the reasons why I got into the industry in the first place. It's to speak with people who are like-minded and creative, and so that we can feed off of each other and be the iron that sharpens iron. So I'm
Yeah.
open.
Love that. And again, you're a joy to work with. You always have great energy. And I really love and appreciate people who everywhere they go, wherever they go, it's better and it's never worse. Like some people, without naming names or anything,
Yeah,
but some people are, there's a dark cloud hanging over them and they bring that everywhere they go and all their problems roll into the door with them. I'm
yeah.
not saying you got to be Pollyanna or toxic positivity and you can't have problems in your life, but you're always a joy to work with. You're always great energy and you do change the molecules in a room when you enter with your positive energy. So thank you for that, Tim
Thank you.
Daniels.
I,
We'll
I
we'll link up your Instagram in the show notes. Final thoughts, final words of advice, anything you would say to someone, maybe especially who is getting into the industry.
Yeah, they're one of them very quickly. It is always too soon to quit. And if you can commit that to memory and believe that in yourself, I think that does wonders. It's done wonders for me. I would hope the same for somebody else. And tune in with that little kid who would be the inner child who'd be amazed at where you are now. I check in with him every now and again, and it's a fun meditative exercise that I do from time to time just to kind of get myself grounded. I would do those two things, and believe in yourself. Those, yeah,
It's
yeah.
great
Right
advice.
out.
I love that. Anytime I hear someone say that they're quitting, I'm like, what do you even mean? You're
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
quitting fun, you're quitting joy, you're quitting
yeah.
You're quitting moving your body and using your voice. Like, what
What?
are you talking about?
Yeah.
I get that they're quitting. Like, if you put all their eggs in one basket and all the pressure of, I need to make money from acting now or else I'll
Mm-hmm.
quit, like that kind of pressure. Maybe quit how you're approaching it and how you're doing it now. Because
Right.
if you're reaching a point where you're all stressed out, but really,
Yeah.
what are you quitting? You're quitting fun, you're quitting joy, you're quitting creativity. What the fuck?
Hmm.
What are you quitting?
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
you're
Don't
quitting it. Yeah.
lose
Um,
that.
well, this has been a pleasure. Thanks for hopping on. We're gonna wrap it here. So again, thanks Tim for joining us, for sharing your unique audition journey and valuable insights. Make sure to follow him at Timothy David Daniels. We'll link it up in the show notes. And if you're listening and you are a professional or emerging film and theater actor, maybe you're a director, a casting director, a producer, if you're making bold moves in the industry, I would love to interview you as an industry pro. Regardless of where you are in that journey, you can share your practical tips, your wisdom, and inspiration. And you can apply to be a guest on a future episode if you go visit insidetheaudition.com. And one more time, if you are ready to master your monologues, you want to showcase your talent to agents, casting directors, and producers so that you can attract bigger and better auditions and ultimately be on your path to booking your next lead role, you can get started with the Monologue of the Month Club today. You can learn how to become a member by going to actorsauditionclub.com/join. That's actorsauditionclub.com/join. And remember that every audition really is an opportunity to showcase your full unique talents to the world and land your next life-changing role. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Inside the Audition.